Alright, lesson 3, ordering, requesting, and slating. Introduction. The petroleum man that you must be knowledgeable of petroleum distribution slating plays a key with the role of the distribution system. The petroleum into the theater operation slate must be prepared with advance. Slate is then the theater is required for the petroleum product, and less than we will discover how the petroleum product requirements are submitted to the miner in the theater joint petroleum office. Terms: ocean terminal, a terminal capable of discharging and loading cargo, for example, the ocean coast of the tank vessel. The slate monthly reports plane requirements for the tank delivery submitted monthly with electronic transmission to the joint petroleum office, the DEO, the DER, and to the DESC. The slate items highly used with the petroleum product slate with the joint petroleum office channel with the overseas area with the most commonly slate with the federal supply code 9130 gasoline, 9140 diesel and kerosene, and optional full federal supply code 9150 packaged petroleum products additive to 68050 such for the FS2 static inhibitor. Purpose of the slate: resupply ocean terminal slate with a request for the quantity of the fuel with the product type delivered with a special means of the MSC tank with a commercial tank of the specified period. A slate project with future requirements from the slate is developed the schedule product with the tank of the will arrive then what with the ocean terminal what date. The establishment requirement of the slate with the project required 4 to 5 months out with the first and second of the monthly requirements must be from submittal, subject to minimal change with the shipping arrangement is made 30-60 days in advance. The requirements of the later months for the future projection of the requirements become with a superfine perfective at the time of the period gets closer. Therefore, the slate sets up the requirements of the product on the tank of the early month, the accurate requirements of the later month that are head up with notice. Efficient tanker distribution. As mentioned earlier, the earlier month of the slate, the accurate requirements shipping arrangements that are made up to 36 days in advance of the delivery date, thereby dedicating this vessel to meet the requirements of the later month of the use of the scheduled tankers 36 days in advance of the requirement. Connos slate. The Connos slate is used with the schedule of the movement of the bulk product for the ocean terminals from the within the Connos. 4 monthly requirements. Connos slate sets up the requirements for the current plus and 3 subsequent months. Tank movements of the product Connos terminals DESC with the conditionalities requirements of all the Connos DERs. Tanker movements of all the water terminals are developed from these slates. Format. Connos slates are prepared and submitted through the DFAMs. Overseas slates. The overseas slates are used with the scheduled movement of the bulk petroleum products ocean terminal outside of the Connos. 4-month requirement. The overseas slates requirements current plus 3 months subsequent months. Submission of the slate must be received by the DESE NLT the 10th calendar date of each month in order to first be done with the GPO, the DEO, DER, transmit the slate via any electrical means of message fifth mile of the format. There's no set format for the overseas slating activity. The following activity responsible slating bulking petroleum in the area with the responsibility: Connos DEO, Fort Dix DEO, Los Angeles DEO, Houston O'Connos DER, Europe PACOM, JPO DER, Middle East South Com GPO, USA Com GPO, miscellaneous activities headquarters Space Command, SAALC, JPTS, Antarctic support activities. Alright, preparation for overseas slate requirements information reflect the type of the product required for the quantity during a specific period of the month, the specific location by a specific delivery method. The following information is required: month, the destination terminal code of the product type of the 3 characters, quantity expressed in the mic barrel, the method of delivery code, period of the delivery design, method of the delivery code, the MSC for the control tanker bar for the commercial control. 2. Commercial control tanker, the FPO destination. Shipments of 3. The pipeline, tanker car, tanker truck with large deliveries around range other than the MSC. The period of delivery codes: 1. First of the 10th day of the month. 2. The 11th to the 20th day of the month. 3. 21st of the end of the month. And 4. Blank no preference requirements. And footnotes. Footnotes will be used to convey the information and not include the slate format change with the storage capacity with the resulting such factor. Remove the tankers for the tank cleaning, maintenance, repair, and abandonment. Special requirements, restriction, limitation relative to the usage, store facility, pipeline distribution schedule, draft safety regulation, poor congestion with effect with the tanker operation, significant change with the requirements change with the due with the requirement balance. Some of the variation can be expected between the quantity slate with the quality actually delivered during the calendar month by tanker with the DSE cargo number to destination. Quantity with the tanker may not be equal to the quantity requested on the slate. With the difference between the order and receipt is reported on the positive negative zero. The requirements balance. If the quality delivered is less than the quantity slate, the requirement balance would be negative. If the quantity delivered is greater than quantity slated, the requirements balance would be positive. If the quantity delivered is the same as slated, the requirements balance is zero. The requirements balance must be considered the slate with being prepared. If the requirements balance is zero, then no adjustment of the slate is required. If the negative requirement balance is already scheduled, no further action is required. If the negative requirements balance is not scheduled, the discard of the compute the slate based on the computer's needs of the available storage. If there is no positive requirements balance, the review of the slate with a decree for the cancel order based on the customer need of the available storage. Following example of the requirement balance. All right, JUN or June, the slave of the quantity that will equal the delivered quantity, assuming the 3 month of the requirements of the balance of the year of the slave of the July, but the would reflect with the effects and requirements of the zero of the JPA with the Ocean Terminal Act with no action required with the chain of the scheduled deliveries. July, slated quantity of the 1,200 million barrels with more over the 10 million, 100 million barrels will deliver to leave the terminal X and 220 million barrels short of the requirements of the year with the slave of the August will reflect the negative requirements band with the 20 million barrels of JPA at the Ocean Terminal X will provide the storage ullage is available to check the tanker schedule to see if the difference has been scheduled delivery and have no further action required. It is not chain with the slave with the quantity of the negative balance if support with the customer in the average storage. August, the slate quantity of 90 billion barrels, 120 billion barrels will deliver the difference of 30 million barrels, bring with the requirements below being balanced to pot of the 10 million barrels. The slate of the September was reflective requirements of the balance of the pot of the 10 million barrels. Note that the slate of the September does not affect the requirements balance of the 30 million barrels because of the July requirements balance of the minus 20 million barrels, which is considered determining the August requirements for example, the negative 20 plus 30 equals the pot of the 10 barrels. All right, 12. Unforeseen changes. Changes coupled with requirements balance circumstances beyond the terminal control will have the impact of the delivery requirements for the unseen chain of the require the chain of the delivery requirements. If the chain effect of the delivery requirements is during the first 2 months of the current slave, it is reported through the JP over to the DESC for the most expeditious means available. The chain of the first 2 months required with the follow submission of the slave with the chain with the explanation of the change will be for it. Note the section if the chain is effective the third and fourth months of the next month slave should reflect with the correction of the quantity within footnotes. Lesson 3 practice questions and Lesson 4 bulk petroleum war reserve stock.